Hello, and welcome to this brief podcast recording. I'm Sharon, and I'm here today with Joseph Manzo, author on his new textbook, Microsoft Excel for Your Career, that he's publishing with Flat World Knowledge. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Sharon.
Well, I'd like to get started today and not keep our listeners waiting. Our first question for you is, what made you decide to write a textbook for the Microsoft Excel course?
Well, Sharon, it's a culmination of many years of corporate experience and academic experience. I have a background in working with several corporations where we used Excel heavily, and this extends from garment manufacturing to apparel merchandising, retail, merchandise planning overseas, international engagements, and in consulting as well in the finance, wealth management area. So all of that professional experience, plus at Lehigh University, I started the Excel competency program for our business school about 9 years ago. So what this book is a culmination of all that corporate experience of actually using the tool for a variety of professional reasons, and then coming up with a pedagogy over 9 years to teach Excel to college students. Now, on top of all this, this book is not my first book. This is the fifth book that I've written. When you look at my publishing experience from not only Microsoft Excel but also Access, there were 2 books written for Excel and Access 2003 that were published through Pearson. And then I updated those books and did a lot of rewriting of those manuscripts for Office 2007. And as we know, 2007 was the big change in the software from prior 2003 to 2007. So this is the fifth, and I think getting so much feedback. And what's great about this book is getting so much feedback from, I would say, about 100 professors across the country who have used my textbooks in the past and say, hey, it'd be great if we could see this, or what about an application for using Excel in this area, so on and so forth. So not only is my corporate experience involved in this, not only do I have the 9 years of pedagogical development at Lehigh University integrated in this book, but now I have from my other textbooks that were published through Pearson all of the feedback from professors who have been using this book around the country and their views and what they think is best to show and demonstrate the applications for the tool.
Very good, very good. And I think you've alluded to it a little bit, but I'm going to ask you to give us a little bit more information about what about Microsoft Excel for Your Career that kind of sets it apart from the other textbooks in the market, or kind of solves a problem that, or a need that maybe some of the instructors who teach this course might have?
Well, the thing is, anybody that is going to work one day, it doesn't matter what you are studying or what you're doing in your life right now. You could be getting into the healthcare industry. You can be getting into the legal profession, supply chain management, construction, retail manufacturing. It's amazing how no matter what you do and what your academic interests are, or your professional interests, or your personal interests, there is a use for this tool. And what's great about For Your Career is no matter what you're doing in your life, I think when you read through this book, if you're sitting in a classroom, you will be able to identify with something. And there's so many reasons why I think a professor or instructor is going to really benefit from this text. The first thing is the videos. We have 2 style of videos that we're going to be including with this textbook. One is going to be a lesson video. So imagine that you're an instructor and you're looking at a topic that, you have some idea about how this is used and how it gets integrated into the software, but gee, wouldn't it be nice if I just can kind of throw a video up to my students of me explaining it? Because what I do is I shoot the videos in concert with the book. So I'm using the content in the book to produce the videos. An instructor can use that video right in the classroom, or a student, once they see the lesson in the classroom, we all know this, that students can easily forget. Once they see it done once, it's very hard for them to retain that. So if they can see it again and again, see a demonstration of the software tools again and again, their retention is going to get a lot better. It makes the calls back to the instructor much fewer if they can have this resource. We also have a second style of video, which is going to be what I call the quick clip, or the skill refresher. The skill refresher basically is a 60-second, approximately 60-second video where if a student just wants to take a look at a quick demonstration, they might be working on a project in another class or just reviewing some material for an exam they're going to take for the software class. They have that feature as well. The other thing is other components that we layered into the textbook, something called integrity check. This gives the instructor the opportunity to really help the students be careful with developing spreadsheets so it's accurate, has a high level of integrity, so that there's a little check in there that students can do to make sure that maybe if they've made a mistake, they know what to look for, or if they're working with a workbook that somebody else created, they know how to look at that workbook and do a little bit of an audit so that they can make sure that what they're seeing is accurate. The other key feature is why. There are things that we do in Excel, and I've gotten them in my class over the years, and I know a lot of instructors out there hear this, students saying, why do we have to do that? Or why is it done that way? Well, I've answered all those questions. I anticipated those questions and answered them in the book in these call-out boxes, which are simply called why. So we're explaining to the student why things are done a certain way, and the instructor has those questions answered for them right in the textbook, and they can bring those features out as they're talking about the tools and the skills when they're in the classroom.
Great. And I'm on to our last question just to wrap up here. Joseph, can you tell our listeners, I mean, it's obvious you've published 4 other books with Pearson. You could have published this book with Pearson. We're thrilled that you chose to publish with Flatworld, and would you mind sharing with our listeners why you made that decision?
Well, I think one of the things that I've learned from publishing with, certainly as you know, with Pearson, but in looking at the publishing industry overall, is the model that is being used and that's been used for such a long time, it's so laden with so much cost. So what I've seen is the struggle for these companies to overcome the high cost burdens in publishing and also bringing in new works and innovating and servicing new innovative works over time. So what we're seeing is authors that are trying to publish new innovative material. It's becoming more complex, more difficult to get that material published and sustained and grown over time. So the consequence of having such a high-cost business model is that the student ends up paying for a lot of those costs for the textbook price. And I think that's what we've seen is just a huge reaction, certainly over the past few years, of a huge outcry of students paying so much money for textbooks. The other flip side of this thing is, when you look at the way technology has changed the way we get information, so much is done through the internet. As a matter of fact, textbooks are probably one of the few things that you can't just kind of go onto a website and get information out of a textbook. But we can get everything else. So, again, I think because the publishers, the main publishers out there today, were so slow and have not really adopted technology as it's currently being used by so many people, Flatworld steps in and has this incredible opportunity for professors and students to say, hey, look, we can put together, not only from the professor's point of view, innovative content, what is it that you want to write, and makes it so easy for me as a writer and a professor to put my content out there. And how great is it to say, walk into your class to your students and say, hey, this work is now available through the internet, and it's free for you to view and use. There's nothing better than that. And then students decide how they want to place value on what they want to buy. So whatever we can offer the students as far as convenience as to, do they want to buy a printed black and white, a printed color, whatever variety or flavor they want, they get to make that decision on their own. And that's where the big publishers are just really lacking right now. And I just think Flatworld's a great opportunity for higher education. It's a great opportunity for our students. And I just think it's a great opportunity for faculty to get back into being innovative with pedagogy and writing again, because I think we've kind of lost that over the past 10 years, and I think Flatworld is going to be a huge opportunity to get that back again.
Well, thank you, Joseph. I appreciate the comments on Flatworld, of course, and then, of course, all the information that you've shared with us about your new textbook, Microsoft Excel for Your Career. And I'd like to thank, of course, all of our listeners today for spending some time with us to learn a little bit more about Joseph Manzo's book. We encourage you to pre-order a desk copy today on our website, or feel free when the book publishes in November of 2011 to stop back and you can read the book in its entirety online, as well as your students could do the same. So at this point, we'll thank you and we'll sign off and hope to be speaking with you soon. Bye now.
Thank you, Sharon.